Hi everyone, this is Priya Patra and I'm joining in from Mumbai, India. I am the lead of the Women PowerUP Network and thank you for joining. Everyone, please take the poll on the screen. The code is on the screen, menti.com. Use the code 47294249 and let us know from where you have joined in today. And Priscilla will put the link on the chat window as well and the code for your reference. Yes. Today, we are here to celebrate women leadership. Everyone in this event is speaking on their personal capacity. Our views do not represent the organization that we work for. And the meeting has been recorded. If you are uncomfortable in any ways, please feel free to hop out. Else, you are welcome to join the celebration. The theme of this month is Speak Bold. And we have our esteemed speaker, whom we will introduce in a few moments from now, to talk about this topic. Now, let us give you a background of what this community is all about. And we remind ourselves every month when we have this connect. We are a virtual community of women. To be precise, we have more than 900 women in our community, both in our LinkedIn as well as Facebook groups. Our vision is to empower everyone with the right support and skill, and we hope someday we will transform the future. And right now, we are providing this platform to enhance our leadership qualities. We believe that you really don't need to be an expert to help each other. So, being good enough is just amazing. And when such good enough people come together, we power each other up and together we rise as a community. With this, I hand over the stage to Priscilla to talk about our newsletter and the positions that we have open today.
Just a moment, Priya, please. Oops, sorry, here. Thank you. So welcome. I'm speaking from Brazil. It's 10:36 in the morning here. So I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you, Teresa, for being with us today. So last year, through our theme Remarkable and Rising, we focused on recognizing our strengths and believing in the leader we already are. Together, we rose by sharing our stories, embracing progress over perfection, and lifting one another through change. This year, Bold Moves is the natural next chapter. Because once you rise, the real question becomes, what bold step are you willing to take next? Every month, we will share our My Bold Moves stories, how we have moved out of our comfort zones to be the leaders that we are today. These are going to be published in our monthly newsletter, which is called Empowered. Don't forget to read the Bold Moves stories here. You can also submit your own bold move story, which we will publish at Empowered newsletter. I will send you some links so you can check the newsletter and the links to submit your bold movie story. And we need you. Here is our Bold Moves calendar. Our Bold Moves calendar is designed as a journey, as you can see in this image here. Starting with clarity and courage, moving through building strength, using your voice, taking risks, staying the course, and ultimately leading with impact. These monthly themes mirror the very steps many of us are taking in real life. If you wish to address our community or you know anyone who wishes to do so on these themes, please reach out to us. We are also inviting purpose-driven individuals like you join our global community and help us power up impact through connection, creativity, and leadership. Currently, we have 2 positions available: social media champion and web design and development. Both roles are 100% remote. I will share the links if you are interested. Priya, over to you.
Thank you. And Priscilla, you again, if you can
Okay.
introduce Teresa.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's my pleasure to introduce our facilitator of the day, Teresa. Teresa,
I'm losing you, Priscilla.
which is a
Priscilla, you're cutting in and out a little bit.
Yes.
and
Yes. Yep.
PMP. No? Can you listen?
Yeah, you're
You're
cutting in
cutting.
and out a little bit.
Really? Wow,
Yes.
what's
Yes.
happening?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Better.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you try, Priya?
Yeah. Go ahead, Priscilla. Now it's better. All right. So I think Teresa,
Okay. Can you hear me now?
better. Please go ahead. Yeah. Okay, Priscilla, you're cutting out. So I will do the honors of introducing Teresa.
Okay.
Teresa is a
Teresa,
PhD.
who is a PMP and PhD. Oh, sorry, thank you.
Priscilla, you're cutting in and off. Let me do the introduction. Okay. Priscilla? Yeah. Okay.
Not saying
Teresa,
anything. It's not me.
I will go ahead. Teresa is a PhD, PMP, and a former superintendent of schools in Western New York. In 2016, she boldly opted to make a career shift into her current work, where she now is recognized as a subject matter expert on the intersection of creativity and project management. This is really interesting. In her role as owner and president of International Deliverables LLC, Teresa facilitates, trains, consults, and keynotes to individuals and organizations internationally across industries. Teresa also serves as faculty and director of Creative Leadership of Innovation and Change PhD program at the University of the Virgin Islands. With this, Teresa, I hand over the stage to you to take it all away.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Good to have everybody here. What I'd like to do always is as I screen share is I will, let me just have this go from the beginning. Terrific. I will make my screen a little bit bigger because I like to take a picture, right? I know, and we like to have the pictures, and I know that we'll be posting these online. So that's just great. The quick little picture. Friends, that is my LinkedIn QR code right there. If you'd like to connect after, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy that we have friends all over the world that are with us today. And as we posted in the write-up of this presentation, I'm going to show you, teach you the crux of problem solving, separating idea generation from idea evaluation. Here's why. Under this notion of speaking boldly, what I'm not going to emphasize or stress or even talk about is speaking more loudly or more aggressively or kind of more flashily with fanfare. The goal in problem solving, when we study problem solving and we apply it, is an inclusive way to be sure that every voice is heard, is recognized, is honored, is sought after. And what I will be saying a couple times today is, did everybody have a chance to weigh in? Did everybody have a chance to be heard? And the goal is, as we lift each other up in meetings, in positions, as we progress, is that we make space for everyone, for all voices, in such a way that everyone is heard. How about this? So that we have more ideas and more options to move forward. So we'll have an interactive session. You will be jumping in right away to use some of these tools, and I promise you, as soon as you hop off, you'll be able to apply. Objectives: learn and practice this thing called the dynamic balance, separating idea generation from idea evaluation, the crux of problem solving. And experience. You will be able to experience today how that helps create spaces and ways in which we can build on more inclusive conversations. Right at the end, I'll talk about the creative problem solving process in general, and also this assessment called Foresight that reveals your thinking preferences toward problem solving. Just as a little tease and tickle up, perhaps we'll work together in the future. So this is me, Teresa Lawrence. I'm always in a checkered shirt when I do my work. And as I was said, in 2016, I transitioned from the work as a superintendent of schools, $60 million budget, 3,000 students, 500 some odd faculty, into the work that really makes my heart sing, for which I am highly trained, skilled, and recognized now as the subject matter expert. And that is on the intersection of creativity and project management. I'm a master facilitator of creativity and the creative problem solving process. I'm also a credentialed and certified PMP, project management professional. In fact, we believe that I am the only visual credentialed in both internationally. Creativity is defined as novelty that's useful. So in this case, we're not talking about what we call big C, things like making music, making amazing art, right? Being a ballerina of epic talent. In problem solving, we're talking about everyday creativity, little c, and that's being able to generate novel, new ideas that are useful, that have benefit. Project management is defined as a temporary endeavor that creates a unique deliverable. Could be a big project, building a bridge, could be a small project, me tailor making this presentation for you today. What we know is that when we intersect creativity into project management, we substantially increase the value, whether it's stakeholder engagement, whether it's requirements, project requirements, whether it's understanding where we are in the project and what comes next. The main takeaway that I share with you to be thinking about in your work, the work that I do, is that it doesn't matter where you are in the project. It'll never matter what kind of industry, where you are in the project. It always matters where you are in the problem. Once you know where you are in the problem, and you've been trained in the problem-solving process, by the way, the most sought-after skill, you can leverage yourself forward. I also am faculty at the University of the Virgin Islands. So if you ever wanted to do a PhD in creative leadership for innovation and change, I can give you information on that. I write, I speak, I publish. And in fact, since 2016, I've been in front of more than 95,000 individuals. Exciting. A little bit about me. So as I said, main takeaway, and I want you to be able to be thinking about incorporating this for yourself, the teams that you lead, the meetings that you host. And the mindset that I want you to have after today is to confidently, boldly be able to say, did everyone have a chance to be heard? And I'll show you how you can make that happen. So let's jump right into it. The crux of problem solving, and you are already a changed person after this slide, rests on what we call the dynamic balance between divergent thinking and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking, I want you to imagine you're a child in a playground and you're hanging out with your friends and you find a Coke can and a string and a random shoe, right? As children, we can make that be anything. Ideation, novel, lots of novel ideas. Convergent thinking, on the other hand, I want you to think is like being an editor, right? Where we become to be critical, not negative, but we start to become discerning. Sometimes we have divergent thinking, and sometimes we have convergent thinking. It all depends on the work that I am doing. Am I working with organizations to get ideas? Do we have ideas, and are we transitioning to making choices? And that dynamic balance says we always need divergent thinking and always convergent thinking. But here's the thing, we never do them at the same time. Have you been in a meeting where somebody says something and immediately somebody goes, oh no, we've tried that. That'll never work. Silly idea. They roll their eyes. We don't want that. In order to speak bold and to create space, we intentionally separate idea generation, and I'll teach you the rules to do that. And then and only then do we make a conscious choice to move to convergent thinking to make some selections. It's kind of like driving a car. You don't have your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. Why? First of all, it's not good for the car. And second of all, you won't get anywhere. So here's how this looks visually. Imagine this is a challenge, a problem, a topic for which you need ideas, an opportunity. The first thing we do is diverge. Diverge, lots and lots and lots of ideas. And we say, is that enough ideas? Would we like more? I work with teams in which we're past 200 ideas. Do we have enough? Would we like more? Then and only then, divergent thinking, do we say, let's make some choices. And we begin to make some choices from among the ideas generated, convergent thinking. I'll show you a tool called Highlight, where we cluster and restate, boom. And there, in and of itself, rests this notion of creativity, generating, selecting to be able to arrive at novelty that's useful. Divergent thinking, generating possibilities. A broad search for many alternatives. So I already want you to think about this topic of speak bold, right? I'm going to show you the process to do that. And I'll pick on Priya. We've all been in those meetings, right? Our meetings where they say, oh, let's spend 10 minutes generating ideas or talking about a topic. And here comes Priya. Priya starts talking. We don't even know what she's talking about. She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Time is up. And none of us have had an opportunity to weigh in. What we want is the exact opposite of that, to create a space in which every single person, regardless of title, position, how long they've been with the organization, has an opportunity to speak. And there are guidelines. I'll share these guidelines with you, and then we'll practice them. When we're diverging, we defer judgment, both good and bad. So when somebody says an idea, we don't do the following. Silly idea, dumb idea. What is she thinking? We don't share negative, but we also don't say, oh my, I love that idea. What we want to do is praise the process, not the person. We're going to strive for quantity, and I'll tell you a story, and then we'll practice that. You want the luxury of a lot. You want everyone with their perspectives, with their history, with their understandings to be able to speak boldly. We want the benefit of ideas. I'm going to teach you a couple of tools for building on other ideas where you go, oh, that makes me think of. And you want novelty. Later on in the creative problem-solving process, there are development tools where we can make these crazy ideas better. We can give them legs before we choose to do them or not to do them. And I have a little asterisk here about cereal boxes. Let me show you what I mean with that. Remember I said we want the luxury of a lot of ideas. So maybe in the background of this picture, you can see that there are cereal boxes faded out in the background. Quantity. I want you to be thinking about your grocery store and the cereal aisle. Chances are there's more than 2 or 3 options. And when it comes to having ideas, that's what you want. You don't want to be limited. You want a lot. So the 2 children in the middle, my son, William, who has who with his wife, I'm a grandma now, just had first year anniversary of Cecilia's birthday, William. Right next to William on the hips, that's my daughter, Anna Mae. She's a captain in the United States Marine Corps. She's a pilot. Left and right, little tiny Ada, who's not that small anymore, and Travis, those are my sister's children. Good handful of years ago, my mom and dad said, hey, Tanya and Teresa, put the kids on a plane, send them to Florida. Dad and I will hang out. Thank you, Priya. Dad and I will hang out with the kids for 10 days. Super. So my mom calls me and she says, Teresa, what am I going to feed these kids for breakfast? And I said, Mom, how about this? Go to the store, get all the cereals that you never bought when Tanya and I were, growing up. Get the ones with the marshmallows, get the ones with the toys, get the ones that turn the milk chocolate. Easy enough for her to do. So off to the store she goes. She goes down the cereal aisle, boom, and recognizes it's a long aisle of a ton of options. She says to the person stocking the shelves, how many boxes of cereal are there? Maybe about 200, he says. My mom now trying to figure out from among all of that, how many boxes of cereal does the average family buy? He said about 3. My friends, I want you to realize that of among the 200 boxes, only 3 were chosen. That's about 2% of all of the boxes displayed. This is what you want, and this is how you will get everyone to speak bold. And that is to have the opportunity to everyone for them to weigh in, a lot of options, a lot of ideas. In fact, research shows it is beyond idea 60 where the breakthrough, creative, innovative ideas come. You want the option of a lot so that everyone is heard, and I'll give you a process to make selections so that everyone can weigh in. So let's practice. I'm going to show you a picture with a prompt, and you have 2 options. You can say it out loud, or Priya, can they type in the chat? Do people have the opportunity to do that? Perfect. So you can either say out loud or type in the chat. I just want you to generate your ideas. I'm going to put my timer on, friends, and we're going to see if we can come up with 30 ideas in 2 minutes. Remember the guidelines: defer judgment, go for quantity, build on other ideas if you see something or think of something, and let's go for novelty. Friends, what might be all the ways to improve a suitcase? Say them out loud or type them in the chat. What might be all the ways to improve a suitcase? And if you type them in the chat, I'll just say them out loud. Add wheels. Wheels. Locks. More locks. Change the color. Lighter material. Friends, you're doing a great job. Paint it. What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture or think about the characteristics? Attach a belt on it, different, what happened there? Different sizes. Friends, you're doing a great job. What comes to mind when you look at this picture or think about the characteristics? Make it huge and bulky. Compartments. Friends, what about this picture? What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? A tracker. Numerical lock. Thank you. Friends, you're doing a great job. An auto lock. What new ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? Change the dimensions, add more compartments to fit bigger size, color, different colors. What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture or think about its characteristics? Different shapes. food compartments, cooling systems. Terrific. Friends, you're doing a great job. Cold storage. What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? Unbreakable, thank you. I don't want to cry if the suitcase is misplaced. Child-proof. Attach a screen. What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase when you look at this picture? Lightweight, color, sturdy with wheels. Wheaties, Lucky Charms, Raisin Bran. Yes, colorful. Lightweight, self-moving, waterproof. What about this? What ideas do you get for improving a suitcase? Flexible when you look at this picture. Sturdy, durable. Friends, you're doing a great job. Kids should be able to ride it. It moves easily. Thank you. If you would just write down your last idea or two. Write down your last idea or two. Friends, we had over 40 ideas. Over 40 ideas. And did everyone have a chance to be heard? So in 3 minutes, I kept the timer going. In 3 minutes, we are 19 people. Everyone had a chance to be heard. I want you to be thinking about the meetings that you sit in, maybe even the meetings that you host. And when we open it up to get ideas, what is our process? And in which way do we give opportunity to speak bold, without judgment? And we have the luxury of a lot. Now, many times people say, oh, yes, then we have all of these ideas and then we have meetings and everyone goes away. And what happens to the ideas? And that's a fair question. This is why it's important to be trained on specific tools of problem solving so that they can be employed and you benefit from them. How about this question? What's with the pictures? What's with the pictures? What we know in meetings is that when we're talking and generating ideas, two things typically happen. We go silent, then we're uncomfortable with the silence after a little bit. And worse than that, we kind of mentally say, clearly that's all the ideas there are. Not true. We want to use a tool, a divergent thinking tool called forced connections. And what that allows us to do is either using a prop or a picture, make a connection between our challenge or our question to jumpstart more ideas. Remember, cereal aisles. We want the luxury of a lot of ideas. If you're going to use pictures, you want people, animals, food, technology. Nothing with words, nothing gory, nothing violent, nothing kind of with sexual connotation, just things. And the question that you ask is one of two things. What ideas do you get when you look at this picture? Or when you think about the characteristics, what new ideas do you get? This allows us for that third rule to be making connections and sometimes even going for wild and crazy. Nature as well. So if I can, Priya, if you would just open up a breakout room. Friends, just real quick, it's only going to be 3 minutes. Say hi to where you're located in the world and to your friends. And what I want you to think about is thoughts and reactions. The topic is speak bold. We've talked about divergent thinking, having some rules, and in a very short period of time, generating a lot of ideas where everyone is heard. So Priya will open that up. She'll close it in 2 minutes, meaning you have a full 3 minutes to talk with your colleagues. And we'll come back and get some ideas from everyone. Priya, so far so good? So if you just have your timer on, maybe in 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, just close those rooms again.
Two minutes, right, Teresa?
Sure. And even just like in 30 seconds, you can close it up. I just want them to touch base with one another.
Yeah. Okay, we'll close it down. It's all 30 seconds. Yeah. Okay. So people should be back. I hope they are. Seconds, 24 seconds.
Perfect.
2, 17. Okay, I think they
Perfect.
should be now. Yeah.
Friends, you may use the chat or unmute yourself. Any reactions to this concept of divergent thinking and being able to have everyone weigh in? Any reactions? Somebody did post they like the ideas for generating more ideas.
Yep.
I think it was great at first, not having time to discuss the ideas. There was no space for judgment, right? So we are focusing on generating ideas first.
Correct.
Discussion.
Correct. And so that it can be a struggle for individuals because they want to talk about the ideas. All we're doing at that moment is just getting them out. We will have time to discuss or to further understand them. I like the use of images. I like the way to approach an idea. So that's brainstorming, and we said it out loud. I'm going to show you a tool that's an online tool for brainstorming, and we can also be using it with Post-its, Post-it notes, whatever the case may be. Yep, different pictures gave more perspectives in another direction. Correct. And that's what we want. When we think about creativity, novelty that's useful. And if I'm brand new to an organization and it's my first meeting and everyone on this call has been there forever, I might not say something for fear of judgment. However, if we have a process, brainstorming, we can say it out loud. I'll show you a different tool, brain writing. That's a silent brainstorming tool. What we want and what we give is the opportunity for, in fact, everyone to weigh in. Thank you. So what to do with all of these ideas? We have them all. And imagine we put all of these ideas on little Post-its and they were hanging up. Well, this is what we've just done. The little red squirmish, that's our challenge. What might be all the ways to improve a suitcase? The arrows were all of the ideas that we had, and we had over 45. And now what we would do is make some selections from among those ideas to land on the essence, a new theme of what those ideas represent. Converging, you can see the picture in the upper right-hand corner, kind of bringing it together. Remember I said being like a critic, not negative, but critical, assessing. The goal here is not to have what might be novel ideas, kind of out there ideas, be dismissed. Remember, we're just generating and making some selections. Later in the creative problem-solving process, when we develop, we'll assess the quality, the realisticness of an idea, and perhaps make some changes to it. And of course, there are ground rules. We're going to apply affirmative judgment. You're going to move to those ideas that resonate with you. Sit in your stomach, feel good. You think they might have something there that could help solve the problem. You're going to be open to novelty. Those ideas that might seem a little bit outlandish, but somehow, I don't know, you just still like them. They feel good. We're going to keep those there. We're going to be deliberate. We're going to continue to ask ourselves, do these ideas, do they in fact address the problem that we are looking to solve? And lastly, stay on course. I like to call that not being mentally lazy. We've generated all of these ideas. We need to give time and space to reading them. So the tool that we use is called highlighting. It's 3 parts: hit, cluster, restate. So we make selections from the ideas that have been generated, hitting, clustering. We put like ideas together from among those that have been selected. And then we restate. What's the essence? So it's not about necessarily the single idea, but what is the theme? What's the essence of that? It would look like this. Imagine that all of these were the ideas that we had generated. I would say to you, find a marker, find stickers, go select for you the ones that are interesting, workable, you like, they just feel good. We would put like ideas together. And then those like ideas, we say, what's the essence? And if we're trying to understand a problem, we would state it as a question. If we're trying to generate ideas, we state it as a verb, an action. It would look like this in person. Hitting, clustering, and then you see the gentleman on the bottom there on the right-hand side, making a square around the ideas that have been selected and stating what is the essence. And we can also do this online. On the left-hand side, these are all ideas generated. Individuals have made selections. On the right-hand side, you can see that they're organized, and then they have themes, what's going on there. Here's the good news. All of the ideas on the left-hand side, they don't know that they haven't been chosen. And the thing about ideas, they don't have feelings. But without a process, it's personal. I know that my idea wasn't chosen. It's about me. No, it was about generating ideas, getting everyone to chime in, and everyone having the opportunity to make selections so that collectively we land on what is the next best thing. And as we do that, everyone has the same amount of dots. Everyone has the same opportunity to make selections. And when we restate those themes, I'm able to say, can everybody get behind this? Do these themes resonate with you? Does it make sense? And we can ask, did everyone have a chance to weigh in? Back to the suitcase. If you think about all of those ideas that we generated, could you imagine if we had them on the wall and I had you make selections and we said, let's put like things together, that we might have landed on these types of themes? Right? I heard some of these. Whoops. Right? Adapt to weather. Well, look at, it's the modal bag. You can ride it. You can charge it. It goes 8 miles an hour. And look at these other ideas around themes that were generated. So again, the goal is to first generate, then to make some selections, and from around those selections, come up with some new ideas. So we're going to practice. I'm going to take you out to something that's called idea boards. I'll show you, I'll lead you up before we make our way out there. When we get out to idea boards, there'll be a plus. You're going to write one idea per Post-it. You can say it out loud if you don't want to. I will read them out loud. One idea per post-it. We're still going to remember the same guidelines. Idea Boards is a free brainstorming tool, ideaboards.com. More than welcome to use it. It's going to look something like this. You're going to have a title, you're going to have a question, and here's that little plus minus where you can click. You will get a post-it and you will be able to click on the post-it. Divergent thinking. Convergent thinking, we're still going to do that. What we would do and what we will do is click on an idea that's selected. If you like it, you're going to give it a thumbs up. We are going to be able to group ideas. You can see that this first row, there are multiple ideas together. So we've clustered, and then I'll show you how I download this into an Excel spreadsheet so that you then have these themes that you can go forward. So brainstorming, we can do that in person. We can do it virtually. There's tons of tools that are out there. This is how I download it. Once I've clustered, I simply dump it into an Excel spreadsheet, hit cluster, the slashes in between, forward slashes were the ideas that went together, restating, then I have my themes. And I'm able to say, did everybody have a chance to weigh in? And can you get behind these ideas? So I'm going to put a link. It's out to idea boards. If you have that capacity to go out there, that's great. If not, I will screen share that. You can put it in the chat and I will cut and paste it. So what I want you to be thinking about is how might I use the dynamic balance in my professional work? So let me stop sharing that. Share, let me come out to the internet. The dynamic balance. How might you use that in your professional work? Divergent thinking to generate, convergent thinking to narrow. And here's that little plus button. I'm going to click on it. And I type ideas at meetings. So I'll put my timer on for 3 minutes. Let's see if we can come up with at least 20 ideas how you might use this divergent thinking to generate and to narrow in your professional work so that you speak bold so others do as well. If you're having difficulty coming out to the screen, stay in Zoom, type it in the chat, and I'll cut and paste. I'll read them out loud so it might help you think of other ideas. And if you get stuck, look around, find an object and ask yourself, what ideas do I get? Product ideas, becoming more visible, showing my work more visibly somehow to make work fun. Stakeholder management. Respect everyone, collect ideas, encouraging new team members, checking people's opinion, creating real advocates for my work, respecting everyone, team building. Friends, you're doing a great job. If you get stuck, look around and ask yourself, what ideas do I get for use of this? Thank you. We have some in the chat. I'll cut and paste. Everyone participates actively. Navigating high stakes transitions. Inclusion, more people, ideas whenever possible. Increase engagement of the participants. Friends, you're doing a great job. Keep them coming. How might you use the dynamic balance of divergent thinking and convergent thinking in your professional work? Use of AI, problem solving. Mentorship. Team leadership. setting boundaries. Gathering and analysis of user requirements. How do we write directly in? So, Kate, what you'll need to do is the link was in the chat. I'll put that in there. Oh, I've cut and pasted. Actually, I can do that again for you. You can use the link that I'm just going to put in the chat right now, which will bring you out here, or you can type your idea in the chat and I'll cut and paste it for you. Training sessions for the community. Friends are doing a great job. Keep them coming. And if you get stuck, remember, find an object, find a picture, and simply ask yourself, what ideas do I get from that about how I might use this? Group coaching, active listening, listing issues, prioritization, organize my hours better, in my calendar to be more specific task, training sessions for the community. Terrific. Friends, if you would write your last idea or two. Write your last idea or two. I have one in the chat. Filtering out unnecessary, opinions. Correct. Running retrospective sessions. There's a different tool that I also use that would be a good boost for that, Janet. It's called PPCO, plus its potentials, concerns, overcoming concerns. I'll show you that actually at the end. Mediation. Terrific. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Somebody want to count that up for me? So 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 35 ideas. Wow. How about this? Ready? You know what I'm going to ask. Did everybody have a chance to weigh in? Did everybody have a chance to be heard? Yeah, in 3 minutes, 35 ideas, and everyone weighed in. Right? Again, this notion of speaking bold doesn't mean necessarily loudly, aggressively. We're talking about giving space in an inclusive environment where everyone can weigh in. Terrific. Divergent thinking. Divergent thinking. If we were still fluttering with ideas, if it was a product team and we were looking to generate product ideas, I might extend the time. For training purposes, I am just going to take a breath right there. If you're looking at my screen, let me just find somebody whose screen is on. Okay, Priscilla, can you do me a favor? Of all of these ideas, can you just pick one that you love the most so I can show the group how to make a selection?
Sure. Using the tool, right?
Yep, just tell which of these ideas, there's now 36, which one of these do you like that you think, yeah, that would be a good idea, good use?
Okay, I'm gonna read it fast.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Okay, active listening.
And just tell me, oh yeah, right here. So friends, here's what you're going to do. In just a minute, I'm going to set you loose to make some choices. So if I'm Priscilla, I've just clicked on active listening. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. And then I'm going to click on the X box and you'll see active listening says +1. What I would like you to do is go find your 4, what you think, best ideas. They just sit in your stomach. That's a good idea, regardless if you gave the idea or somebody else did. So I'll give you some time to do that. Once you've done that, if you would just give me a thumbs up as an animation, and then I know that you have done it. 4 ideas, what you think are your top applications and use of this. If you need help making selections, just let me know and I can make them for you. My vote for setting up boundaries. Okay, I can do that for you. I just need to see where setting up boundaries is. Setting up boundaries, I will make that vote for you. If anybody else needs help, you may choose 4, up to 4. Inclusion. All right, let me just find inclusion. Inclusion with more people ideas. Is that what that one individual meant? I don't see inclusion. Let me click on that. Go ahead and make your choices. And then again, if you can just give me a thumbs up in the animation, and that way then I know. Say no. Okay, respect everyone. And say no. Say no. And now I'm on the hunt for respecter. Oh, there's respect everyone. Gathering analysis of user. Okay, number 3. Gathering and analysis of user requirement. Yep, I see that one. And use of AI. Okay, I'm not seeing, does anybody else see use of AI? Perfect. So, did everybody have a chance to weigh in? Yeah, everybody has the possibility to make a choice. And again, it's not about who said the idea. It's the fact that we want to generate an inclusive environment, all possible ideas, and then become discerning to make some choices. Well, I have some things here. Team building. Okay, if somebody wants to help me, Priscilla, if you will find team building and give it a thumbs up, and then I will look for listing issues and priorities. Issues and priorities. Yep, and prioritization. Perfect. So also what you can see here is that I don't know who typed this, right? It's a process. It's not personal. Upper right-hand corner, you can see it says export, login, and sort by. I am going to go by votes. And you can see that it's shuffled. So now what we have by rank order, most to least or none, we see what individuals selected. In problem solving, we tend to shy away from gathering and analysis use, that number 1, because it's not that it got the most votes, it's that in there something is resonating with somebody. Our goal now is to see were any other ideas of that kind. Down below, you see that these have 0. We're only going to be focusing in ideas that were selected. These bottom ones we might use once we have our themes as other examples. But remember, they don't know that they didn't get chosen. Ideas don't have feelings. People do. So let's look at number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inclusion, more people, more ideas whenever possible. Is that same or different from increased engagement of the participants? Or do we have any, how about this one? Inclusion, more ideas whenever possible. Look at this one down below here, ideas at meetings. If I grab that and put it on top, it asks if I want to connect it, and I'm going to say yes. So now we've begun this process of clustering. And the game that you play is same or different, not similar. So if you want to just take a moment of practice to do that, if you see that 2 things relate, just practice, click on it, drag it over. We're only looking at the ideas that have been selected, I'm sorry. Listing issues. Yeah, go ahead. We're practicing. Is it possible to filter by 0 to eliminate, make it easier to see what remains? Kat, you probably could. Actually, you can. Let me show you. So, Kat, if you see my cursor here, I'm down on mediation. If I click on that, kind of as the facilitator, I could make that go away. What we do if we're in person, just like here, we're just clicking, clicking, clicking. The ones with 0, we really don't want to get rid of them because once we have themes, let's just say team building, we might go back and see, was there anything else? Did anybody else mention that? Is it an idea that's part of that? So let's go ahead and still make, can cluster participate? Yeah, great, super. So let's just say we have gone on through all of that. I'm just mindful of time. Let's look at 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th one over. Increase engagement of participants. Participate actively. What's the theme of that? Somebody take a try at what's the essence of that theme?
Collaboration, maybe.
Collaboration. Sure. Collaboration, engagement, right? Something around that. So when we separate idea generation from idea evaluation, we're not limited to the idea. What we want to gather is the theme around ideas that have been generated in a theme. So what we have here as a takeaway, when might you or how might you utilize this? Aha, I would use it to increase engagement in participants. And what I'm able to say to the group is, does that resonate with people? Can you get behind that idea? And what we want is buy-in, not so much consensus. I find always in consensus, somebody acquiesces versus can we get behind that? Sure. Thank you. Somebody else said involvement. If we have ideas that are not grouped, that's okay. Running retrospective sessions, we didn't have anything else that was there. So when we have an individual idea, that's okay. We still would ask, what's the essence of that theme? It might be that it is exactly that idea. We might restate it as something bigger. So convergent thinking to generate. Do we have enough ideas? Did everyone weigh in? Convergent thinking to make some selections. And then a tool, hit cluster restate to get the essence. Setting boundaries and keeping personal workspace. Let me just see. Setting boundaries. Yep. So let me stop sharing there. Give yourselves a moment to think about that. Let me share my PowerPoint again. This time, did everyone have a chance to be heard and weigh in? Think about the empowerment that you give everyone in the room. What we know when we do that in problem solving, that the effective problem solver knows to separate the two. We don't generate and assess, generate and assess. We generate, 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 and then we consciously shift to assessing. The dynamic balance is the crux of problem solving. There is the problem solving process that takes us from clarifying, ideating, developing, and implementing ideas. And we can also speak bold in all of those stages. 10,000-foot overview. When we clarify, we explore the vision and we identify the challenge. It would be great if. And then the second stage, what's inhibiting that from being a reality? Once we hit cluster restate, we can generate ideas about how to overcome, develop, we make these ideas better, we bring them to life, we see if they're tangible. And when we implement, we start to begin to ask ourselves, from among all of these ideas that are generated and developed, how do we get buy-in? What's feasible? And how do we make a plan forward? There are numerous tools in each stage, all of which utilize the dynamic balance. And the takeaway here is, as I said at the very beginning, it doesn't matter what project you're on. And I say to all organizations all over the world, I'm not emotionally attached to your problem. I'm also not impressed with your problem. My job is to help you figure out where you are in the problem, regardless of the project. Do you need to clarify? Are you looking for ideas? Are you looking to make things better from options? Are you an implement? If you are, simply choose the appropriate tool and with intent, move forward. So when we're clarifying, we might brainstorm with these questions to figure out what the problem is. And then we hit cluster and restate and identify themes of problems. Brainwriting, another tool for brainstorming, a silent tool. Here, people write down ideas, and rather than one idea at a time and we post it, you can see that there's paper. We write 3 ideas, we pass it around the room. I like this if we have group dynamics, right? If we have the CEO and the brand new person, or if it's a sensitive topic and we want to make sure. Pluses, potentials, concerns, a tool from the development stage where we strategically list the pluses of idea. What do you like about it? If it came to fruition, what might it lead to? Concerns, we do want to voice those concerns, except that 4th step is to highlight ways and brainstorm ways to overcome those concerns, just so we can see if the idea is feasible. We haven't even chosen yet if we want to do it. Then we can also go into implement and begin this process of sequencing. This is an example where everyone in an organization listed all of their tasks and duties that they have to do for a year, then hit and highlighted their most pressing ones. This is the CEO working with them to put them in order. You can see summer is written in the back. Actions to be done, who will do it, by whom, report and support. They were able to map out their entire year's worth of work and assign it by quarter to individuals. Lots of tools. The goal to have a process so it's not personal and to get everyone to weigh in. Look at all of these individuals making choices. So if we can, Priya, if we'll put them back in their breakout rooms, we can just use the same ones. They've made a little bit of a connection with one another. And what I'd like you to do is now debrief all of that. Divergent thinking, we added convergent thinking. We're talking about speaking bold, having everyone weigh in, applying this to your work. Questions, reactions, applications. Spend 3 minutes and we'll call you back after 3 minutes. So you have 4 minutes total. And then we'll come back and we'll hear from a couple of you and then we'll close out. So Priya just set a timer for them, 3 minutes, and then at 3 minutes, we'll call them back. Priya, how is this working for you? Is this good? Working for you? Good. Okay.
Yes, yes. We are already done with 1 minute, so
Okay.
2 minutes to go. Let me say broadcast a message to go.
I'm going for the golf course, and we'll see you again.
How are we doing for time, Priya?
Yeah, just 6 more seconds.
Oh, good. And then we can close it. Super.
Yeah, 36 seconds. Sorry. Yeah, I closed them. They'll be back soon. Yeah, it's all 29 seconds to go. Yeah, all are back, I think. Yes.
Perfect. So everyone is back. I'll give a moment.
Oh,
I'm just, oh,
three, 4 people are still. I don't know what they're doing. 1 second. Okay, now they're back. Yeah.
now everyone's back. Thank you. I'll just keep this screen up. Any questions, reactions, or applications? Anything that you'd like to share with the group?
I really liked the process. It was very simple and easy. I'm curious, how do you do the restate step?
So what happens is imagine, Kat, so just imagine we had Post-its with all of those ideas up, okay? Then people make selections either online or in person. You take only the ideas that have been selected. And then you go to a new space on the wall, or in here, we would simply download that. And then we would say same or different. So let's just go back to the suitcase. And we had write it, transport kids. And we said, those go together. It's about transporting. Okay, we would put them together. We would then draw a box around those ideas that are the same. And we ask, what's the essence of this? And in that case, it would be something like make it movable, ability to transport, right? If we were working with problems, how to, I don't know, how to make air traffic be on time. We might be brainstorming with questions. We would still hit and cluster, and then we say, what's the essence? And there we simply restate as a problem. So the ideas that haven't been selected, they stay over there. The ideas where we say same or different, same or different, same, great, different, go over here. You make a box, some kind of circle around them, and you ask the question, what's the essence? If it's a single idea, sometimes that's the name of it. Or we kind of go, what's the essence? What's going on there? And then we simply write it. And then what we end up with are marching orders. What might be all the ways we improve a suitcase, make it transportable, make it kid-friendly, introduce technology, or in the case of how might you apply it, if this was a big training program for your organization, now as the organization and those who participated, I could say, how might we use this? We now have themes. Terrific. Did everybody get behind that? And I hope you can also see these really help out making kind of a strategic plan. Exactly what you need to do. Does that help? Perfect.
And Teresa, how many people should be involved in this process? I think there must be a limit to make the process more productive or not.
No, what you need, so I have facilitated a room of 467 people.
Wow.
The challenge, but so the group size, it's not the group size that matters, it's the coordination of the event. So in that room, when I had that many people, I want you to think that I was the conductor. I was kind of overseeing the whole thing. I have what are called table facilitators. They are at various stations so they can just keep process flowing. But I've also done it where I've had large groups, and instead of brainstorming and giving it to the facilitator, they stand up at the wall. If I'm online, I just take that into consideration. So in this case, size doesn't matter. Organizing the space to facilitate is what comes into play. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions, reactions?
So if you
Other than-
had a large room and
Yep.
you were using the ideas board, it would be impossible for someone to read 467 responses. Do you chunk that up into different boards or
No,
how
I
do you-
might just leave it in time. So if these were, product ideas or something, right? And we were not co-located, I might simply say, here's the idea board's address. That's one of many tools that I use, and say, friends, everyone take the next 3 days, or you have until Friday to get all of your ideas up there. I then might send out an email that says, we have X number of ideas, right? Thank you, everybody. Now remember the rules for convergent thinking. I'd like everybody to take 3 days, read over them, pick your top 15 ideas. Now, here's the beauty about that. If Teresa was on vacation when you were doing that, I know there was a process, right? I know, I'll use me as an example, that loudmouth Lawrence didn't dominate the whole meeting, and now we're doing what she says, right? There's a process. And when we say these are the themes that were generated, can you get behind that? You read them, and there's a good chance around that problem, you gotta go, yeah, I'm cool. I think somebody else had another question. I thought I heard
Yes,
someone else.
Teresa. Yeah,
Yep.
so I was just thinking, is there any ground rules for clustering the ideas?
For the ground rules for clustering, you want to be very, very, very diligent. And the question that you asked, that I ask myself when I'm facilitating for groups, first of all, it's the game of same or different. Is this the same? So if we had make it so that you can write it, or food compartments, same or different. Very quickly, people go different. But if we said have compartments, make multiple compartments, have storage space, and have a cooler. Well, the cooler is kind of a compartment, but in that sense, it's similar. We don't want similar. You want to be very discerning. And the main reason is if it's kind of related, there's a good chance it's kind of related to another topic, and then that thing gets lost. So we're going to pull it out. In projects, when I work with teams, communication, people put that in teamwork. They want to put it right over here. And I'm like, well, if it could go here and there, it's probably a thing on its own. So let's take communication out. Because it's not team building. It's not just stakeholder engagement. The theme is communication. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me just show you a couple of other things as it relates to the problem-solving process. What I'd like everybody to do is put their hands in the air and wiggle your fingers. Everybody put your hands at, thank you. And then like this beautiful older woman on the picture, cross your hands over so that one thumb is on top. And I want you just to look down and see what thumb is on top. For me, my right thumb automatically went on top. If you would take your hands apart again and wiggle your fingers, and now cross your hands over again, but intentionally now make the other thumb go on top. Was that funky for anyone? Yeah, thank you. You can uncross your hands for me. Thank you for playing along. That is the easiest way for me to talk to you about your preference toward problem solving. There are multiple stages in the problem solving process. We all have different preferences toward the stage. or stages. And the takeaway from that is that it's not about ability, it's about preference. Everybody could put their thumb on the other hand. But what we want to do, it's called cognitive diversity, the ways in which we prefer certain types of thinking, is that you can see here, clarify, ideate, develop, implement. Foresight is the industry-leading assessment that reveals that. So look at these very three different people. The first person really prefers to implement. The second person really prefers to clarify. Ever work with somebody who solves a problem very differently from you? The goal is to stay focused on wrestling with the problem and not each other. And depending on where we are in the problem, we might lean in to making teams more strategic. These are now team profiles. First group, high preference for ideating. Look at on the left, clarifying. No preference. That would tell me as a team, we probably think or hear what the challenge is, we jam up some ideas, and then we just start doing stuff. But we might not really understand what the problem is. Second group, they'll spend time really clarifying what the problem is, and then prefer just action and maybe not honoring ideas as much. And look at this group, spends a lot of interest and preference in clarifying. I'm going to wonder when they get things done, right? Asking a million questions versus proceeding. And in this picture, what I also want you to see is with no preference toward implementing, really none of us skip a grade. Why would we skip a stage in the problem-solving process? Oh, why is my screen all of a sudden frozen here? Oh, that happened quickly. So what I want just to remind you of is what we wanted to talk about in terms of speaking bold, to learn and practice the dynamic balance. We did that. Experience how the dynamic balance can create a space where people feel safe, valued, and heard, and ways to build a more stronger collaboration. What I'd like you to do, if you can just find a sheet of paper, it could be a napkin, it could be in your notebook. And what I'd like you to do is on the left-hand side, this is just for you to reflect things that were new, interesting, useful, or intriguing in our hour and a half that we spent together. New, interesting, useful, or intriguing, just for you. And once you've done that, on the right-hand side, jot down for yourself some potential uses and applications. Collaboration tools. Thank you. So keep that handy. Oh, Priya, I'd love to get that word cloud. Friends, Priya just put in another code to drop in what you thought of the session. I think it's usually 3 words. Go ahead and do that. Friends, remember, it's a crime against nature to diverge and converge at the same time. Don't do it. Idea boards we use, we Rotary E-Club. Good, terrific. Great. I'm glad that you have immediate application. Takeaways for you, ground rules for divergent thinking, convergent thinking, doing it in person or virtually, hit cluster restate. And one more time, there's my contact information. You can also find me on LinkedIn. If I can be of any assistance to you, to your organization, it's my pleasure. To help fellow women get ahead, speak bold, and move along. Thank you. Priya, I can turn it back over to you or Priscilla.
Yes, you can. All right. Thank you so much, Teresa. And a small token of appreciation from us. And hope we will share the feedback as well as the participation. Are you able to see my screen?
Let me
Yes.
just.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know what screen I've been sharing, but anyways, yes, I will share you with the participation as well as the feedback that we get from from our audience. And
Thank you.
thank you so much. Please do accept this token of appreciation from our community. And with that, I encourage each one of you to take the feedback menti.com again 47294249. Please do connect with Teresa on LinkedIn. And with this, we wrap up our June event. We will be back in July 10th to be precise. And the theme will be Take the Risk. Until then, take care, stay safe, and be bold, I will say.
Thank
And before
you.
we wrap up, let us take a group picture. I will stop the
Yes.
recording now.
Kat, Kat, yes, okay.